insurance policy can provide a means to guarantee that the people who depend on you will be taken care of in the future. Talk to Matt and the team at Hoopie Insurance Services about obtaining coverage to ease your worries and secure financial stability for those closest to you. For over 3 decades, Hoopie Insurance Services has been helping people just like you get the right life insurance coverage for a cost that fits their budget. Remember, a difficult conversation today could mean peace of mind tomorrow. Find comfort in the experienced and knowledgeable staff of local agents at Hoopie Insurance Services. Call 486-7488. That's 486-7488. Or visit them on the web at hupe-insurance.com. Hoopie Insurance, their family serving your family for over 40 years.
I can't think of any way to improve upon the service that I receive.
Gibson's Heating and Plumbing is your independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer that is ranked #1 out of nearly 300 dealers nationwide in customer satisfaction. Here's what Gibson's customers are saying.
The office is always courteous. Gibson's service tech is exceptional in his attitude and performance, and is friendly and efficient as he follows up and explains what he's done that day and what needs to be done if there's going to be a follow-up. Kudos to Gibson's for their outstanding service.
Your independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, Gibson'sHeating.com.
Papa, why can't we telegraph while riding a horse?
Son, there ain't no one to blame but Jeffro. He was riding old Betsy the Stallion, tip-tapping away at his telegraph, when blam, ran right into the side of the saloon.
Well, if Jeffro can't do it, neither should you. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Super Bowl 57, Chiefs, Eagles, Sunday. Coverage begins at 3 following PFW basketball. Kickoff at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Florida is at 6:30. The only place you can listen to the game in Fort Wayne is right here. 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM. And don't forget to talk about it before and after the game. Weekday mornings with Caleb and Kenny at 7 or afternoons on the Sports Rush beginning at 4. Super Bowl 57 on Fort Wayne Sports Station. Broadcasting live from the Masters Heating and Cooling Studios. This is WKJG 1380 AM, 100.9 FM, Fort Wayne, Indiana. The Fan. This is a presentation of Fort Wayne High School sports on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM. The Hoopie Insurance Services High School Coaches Show. Hoopie Insurance, our family serving your family for over 40 years. Here's your host, Justin Kenny.
Welcome in, everybody. Welcome to the High School Coaches Show presented by Hoopie Insurance Services. A day early, usually Thursday night. Tonight we're Wednesday night, talking area high school basketball. Of course, tomorrow night have to make way for Purdue basketball. So moved up a day and talking conference championship races on the boys' side, regional weekend coming up on the girls' side, and unique this weekend for girls hoops, of course, because regional isn't win 2. Regional is just win 1. Semi-state is now win 2. So we'll talk about the matchups coming up in 4A, 3A, 2A, and 1A, particularly with 3A, with Garrett taking on undefeated, unblemished Twin Lakes in that second game at Belmont coming up on Saturday evening. Head coach of the Garrett Railroaders, Bob Lapadot, he'll join us about 6:15, 6:20 or so here on the show. We talk so much about the teams that are doing well in any season and talk to the coaches here, but what about teams that are struggling? Snider Panthers last night dropped their 17th game of the season, 96-59 over Blackhawk Christian. It came just 3 days after Snider was able to get just their second win of the campaign, a 93-76 victory at East Noble last Saturday. But what goes into what a trying season looks like? And we'll talk to Jeremy Rauch about that at the bottom of the hour, head coach of the Snider Panthers. Traditionally, a very good program in the SAC and in the area. Won 18 games last year. Won a sectional championship last year. lost a lot to graduation. Usually we talk about teams like Snider in the city replenish that talent. But we'll talk about when your team isn't the it team in the city, because things can derail south. That talent pool that seemingly at times is unlimited dries up pretty quick. And we'll talk to Coach Rauch about that, the struggles of a 2-17 campaign, where his team goes from here, and really kind of get into the mind of a coach that has had a lot of success in this area and a lot of success with the Snider Panthers, that is going through a very untraditional season when it comes to Snider. So we'll talk to Jeremy Rauch about that at the bottom of the hour. Speaking of teams looking good in the SAC, the Wayne Generals, after last night, they get a overtime win on the road at Homestead, 66-62. Coach Byron Pickens' team now 14-4. They are 6-1 in the SAC. You look at the standings, tied atop the league with Concordia and the Spartans, but they own the tiebreaker over Homestead, and they'll play Concordia on the 17th, a week from Friday. But, of course, before that, Concordia and Homestead will play each other this Friday. So a lot still to be decided in the SAC, but Wayne is in that position to control its own destiny. 6 straight dubs, 4 of those over SAC opponents. Most recently, last night over Homestead, 66-62. We'll talk to Coach Pickens about that game last night. His team turning it around from 4 wins a year ago, and this was a Wayne squad. And Coach Pickens decided, we're going young. We're going to start freshmen. We're going to start sophomores. They're going to take their lumps. And it's very similar to maybe where Snider is this year. We'll talk to Jeremy Rauch about that at the bottom of the hour. Is do you just go young and you build for the future, but you also need to keep the kids engaged, attentive, and dedicated to your program, and not have a wandering eye to try to transfer, because it's so easy to transfer in this city. Not a good situation here. Think the coach is bad, think you're getting the short end of the stick, I'll just transfer. But Wayne last year, Coach Pickens sold his squad on putting in the work, taking their lumps, and now look at them, 14-4 and in first place in the SAC. So we'll talk to Coach Pickens about that approach, as well as talk to Jeremy Rauch about it as well. 46862 on the text line, 46862. What's on your mind in terms of high school basketball in the area? Do you like the new format in the regional round? And we'll see it this weekend on the girls' side. We'll see it in March with the boys, with the single game regional as opposed to multi-game. And then we'll see in semi-state that multi-game format, playing in the morning, winning, coming back at night. Do you like that setup? And basically the switch of the fields in regional and semi-state. Let us know how you feel. 46862. Any questions about area high school basketball? Let us know on the text line. Looking at the girls' regional matchups coming up this weekend, there's a lot of local flavor in these games. You start in Class 4A at Marion, Homestead and Fishers. Fishers at 23-2, and a very, very impressive basketball team. But you look at Homestead being able to get it done recently with 3 straight wins over the likes of Columbia City, Wayne, Huntington North, all double-digit win teams, and Homestead playing arguably their best basketball of the season at the right time. But they'll have to take on Fishers, a squad that, of its 2 losses, one was to Snider right around Thanksgiving. So can the Homestead Spartans find something that the Panthers were able to do and do it against Fishers? The other regional game in 4A at Marion, Snider and Harrison on Lafayette. Snider 20-4, Harrison at 16-9. At Belmont, Hamilton Heights 19-5 will take on Norwell 21-3. That second game at night, we'll talk to Coach Bob Lapadot about this here shortly. Twin Lakes undefeated, 26-0, they'll take on Garrett at 14-11 in that other regional game at Belmont. Class 2A, Bishop Luers. The Knights, despite being under 500 in the regular season, find a way in the Bluffton sectional, capture a sectional championship. They will take on Lafayette Central Catholic at Lapel on Saturday evening for a regional championship. And we don't have a team in 1A. The closest team playing in 1A, Southwood at 19-5. They'll play at Westdale against Tri. Tri just that single loss on the season. But wanted to kind of circle back, and we're going to talk to Coach Byron Pickens in a little bit, a little later in the hour. But about the changing of the guard a little bit in the SAC. And last night, a back-and-forth game between Homestead and Wayne. And I root for stories. I root for storylines. I root for good stories. I root for also variety. And I found myself late in that game last night rooting for the Wayne Generals. And it's nothing against Chris Johnson, nothing against the Homestead Spartans. I just felt, man, Homestead's had its time. It's been in the limelight since it joined the SAC. It's won this thing 4 out of the 7 years it's been in the SAC. At least a share 4 of the 7 years. What about Wayne? Wayne hasn't won an SAC, nor have they tied for the SAC championship since 2000. 23 years. And there's been some good Wayne teams over the years. Coach Aaron Rare had some really solid Wayne teams in the 2010s. But, man, as that game's going down the stretch, and I'm looking at it and blow for blow and Wayne scoring, Homestead scoring, it was just a back-and-forth battle. It was a great game, went to overtime. I'm thinking, man, this if Homestead wins, it's going to be very difficult for anybody to knock them off of the SAC, except maybe Concordia. That game comes up on Friday. But it just felt like you were rooting for Wayne there. I was. 23 years without an SAC title. Haven't clinched it yet, of course, but a big step forward in trying to clinch that. It hits different in the city when we talk about the SAC and hoops and football, when you have teams that aren't traditionally up at the top end of the standings winning championships or competing for championships. Right now we sit here, and the two teams with the best chance right now, Wayne and Concordia. Wayne hasn't won an SAC since 2000. Concordia hasn't won one since 2013. That's great. Of the last, let's see, going back to 2010, 12 championships for Homestead, Carroll, Northside, and Snider combined in the SAC. Now, of course, some of those are shared, but outright or shared, 12 championships amongst those 4 teams since 2010. None for Concordia. One for Concordia. So this is going back to 2015, So 12 of the last since 2015, 12 of the championships have been won by those 4 teams. And, of course, I'm factoring in ties and shared. None by Wayne, none by Concordia. So some different flavor at the top of the SAC. Hits different. It's great to see. And Wayne with the clutch play of Javon Lewis down the stretch, 4 seconds to go, attacks the basket after a game-tying three-pointer by Will Jamison. Just an absolute great shot by Homestead to pull the game tied with about 20 seconds left to go, about 15 seconds left to go in overtime. But no hesitation for Wayne. No timeout, nothing. Just got the ball in bounds. Javon Lewis attacked. And then Wayne goes up. Two technical free throws for Wayne Generals. Caps it. 4 points. Of the SAC. Concordia, it's not been as long, but it's been the better part of a decade since the last were atop the SAC. Concordia will host Homestead on Friday. Homestead will host that game. We'll play Concordia at the new gym at Homestead High School. Wayne will take on Southside on Friday, and then the SAC championship could very well come down to next Friday night at Wayne, Concordia Cadets, and the Wayne Generals. We'll talk to Coach Byron Pickens of the Wayne Generals a little later in the Coach Bob Lapadot of the Garrett Railroaders will join us after the break. We'll talk about his team's sectional championship over the weekend, just how good is Bailey Kellum in program history, and more when we come back. You're listening to a special Wednesday edition of the High School Coaches Show presented by Hoopie Insurance Services here on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Before the big game this weekend, stop into Christopher James Menswear in Covington Plaza for the biggest sale of the year. The Christopher James Menswear Super Sale is this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Doors open Thursday at 10 a.m. All fall and winter clearance merchandise is 50 to 75% off. Sale includes a large selection of suits, sport coats, pants, and shirts. It also includes sweaters, denim, shoes, accessories, and much more. All 50 to 75% off for 3 days only at the Christopher James Menswear Super Sale in Covington Plaza.
If you served honorably in our nation's armed forces and you're looking for a way to continue serving your fellow veterans in your community, then join AMVETS. Each year, AMVETS members volunteer millions of hours at VA healthcare facilities from coast to coast, helping to improve the lives of their fellow veterans through the VA Voluntary Services Program. AMVETS posts and departments also participate in a wide variety of community service projects, ranging from Americanism in our schools to supporting the Special Olympics and Boy Scouts of America. If you no longer wear the uniform today, you can still serve through the AMVETS by joining today at amvets.org.
Eating, working, living pain-free. These are a few of the things many of us take for granted. Yet, for many United States military veterans, finding and affording oral health care is a challenge many of us don't think about. Dental Lifeline Network is looking for dentists who can change this. DLN is asking dentists and their teams to volunteer to see one veteran with special needs one time per year. Visit willyouseeonevet.org to learn more. That's willyouseeonevet.org.
Why? Why take a chance? Why risk a mistake? Why say something? We all have reasons why we choose to ignore the things that give us pause, that seem out of place, that don't feel right. The word why can either paralyze us or empower us to stand up and protect what we love. So if you see something, why do you say something?
I see safe for my family.
I see safe for my friends.
I see say for my students.
We see say for each other.
I see say because all of this matters.
We all have something worth protecting. A why that unifies this community we're all a part of. So protect your everyday. Report suspicious activity to local authorities. If you see something, say something.
If you're a veteran looking to file for your service-connected benefits through the Department of Veterans Affairs, don't go it alone. AMVET's highly trained service officers stand ready to walk you through the process at VA regional offices around the country, helping you to navigate the complex VA system free of charge. With new presumptions for Agent Orange exposure and other conditions, AMVETS can offer you the advice you need to finally receive all of your earned benefits. In 2009 alone, AMVETS helped process more than 65,000 claims and appeals, securing more than $410 million in benefits. To find your nearest AMVETS service officer or to learn more, visit amvets.org.
This is the Hoopie Insurance Services High School Coaches Show on Fort Wayne Sports Station, 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Welcome back, everybody. Justin Kenny here in a special Wednesday edition of the High School Coaches Show. Here talking area high school basketball. We'll talk some SAC hoops coming up later. Jeremy Rauch and Byron Pickens will join us between now and the top of the hour, but we're talking girls high school basketball, girls regional basketball right now, and welcoming Garrett head coach Bob Lapadot to the show. Coach, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, Coach. Congratulations. A sectional championship, and came down to, what is some of the most exciting play in sports, the two free throws to decide the game towards the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And really in two different ways. Bailey had two that we really wanted her to make, and then Delaney had a couple where with 0.9 seconds, you kind of hope she misses because that's pretty tough as opposed to taking it out of bounds and having a chance to throw it the full length of the court. So kind of a weird situation, but both kids did their job, and here we are with a chance to win the regional.
Take us through those 2 days, Coach, because it was a hard-fought game against Concordia in the cage, who's the host site, and then having to turn it around and play Woodland, who is a 20-win team and is very solid with Coach Cobb. So a very difficult, challenging 24 hours for you.
Yeah, it definitely was. And, even Concordia was a quick turnaround from our annual sectional battle with Angola, it seems like. And, Concordia was, on Sagarin was ranked number 1 in the conference. They obviously are in the sectional. They have a great schedule, playing at home, a team that can really score the basketball. And I thought, we came out and we limited them to 12 points in the first half. And we kind of hung on in the second half. They're going to score. And, Bailey just put on an unbelievable performance with 33 points and 13 rebounds. And, Kelsey Bergman did a really good job and got a double-double. And, we did our job. And then that turnaround was definitely quick against a 20-win team. Like you said, it's really well coached. And, we come out and hold them to 10 in the first half and build an 18-point lead that was just enough to hang on and win. But, man, I just couldn't be prouder of the job that we did. Our sectional is always really tough, and this year probably by ranking it wasn't as high. But, there were some teams in there that thought they had a chance to go a long way, and we had to play them all. So I'm just so proud of our kids.
And, Coach, you were able to knock off Woodland by a single point. You did that in early November to start the season. How much can you take out of a game, the first game of the season even, and then turn around and play a team in the postseason, that very same team? Was there much – teams change so much within 3 months. I don't know how much you can take out of one game to prepare for the other.
Yeah, we really did. Like, the young Knubler girl was, kind of being a freshman was new to us in that first game. And I think we really learned a lot about the way they were going to play us, and they pretty much played us the exact same way. So we, a lot of what we prepared for and saw was, and you're right, usually you can't take much from November to February, but it worked out pretty good for us. And, we did nothing the same going into that game. We went with a triangle and 2 and did some different things. We played man-to-man in the first game, and, God, we haven't played man-to-man in a month now. So, we've changed a lot and evolved, but you have that with the type of team we had compared to the experienced, solid team that Gary had coming back. You're going to do what you do, and you won 20 games, so why would you change it? And for us, we were up and down and until we finally found what we could be really good at, and now we've excelled at it in the last month. But, I think for us, it was a lot more important that first game than it was for them.
Coach Bob Lapadot of the Garrett Raiders joining us here on the High School Coaches Show. Coach, at this point of the season, and you've been through a lot of these in your career, just over 12 years, don't want to make you feel older or anything, but what's the most important thing in games at this point of the season to have success? What does it come down to?
The little things. Rebound, take care of the basketball, value every possession, and then make free throws. It definitely does. And people preach that and they think it's just, coach talk, but it really is. And like I told somebody Saturday night, everybody says, oh, you win the game. Yeah, no, you can win the game or lose the game at any point. You can't tell me that 28-8 to 28-10 at halftime was not the reason why we won that game. Yes, we did some things down the stretch, but, if you're not up 18 when they make that run that they made, you're going to be in trouble. So, valuing every second and valuing every possession for the whole game, and that's really, truly what we preached, and it paid off big in both the Concordia and Woodland game.
Coach, you've coached a lot of really good players in your career. Where does Bailey rank?
She has to be the best. She just, she has just developed and developed and developed. And every year we've asked her to change and add something to her game. And, she's had to become a point guard for a lot of the time this year. And, the amount of things that she's done and played on both ends of the floor and learned to play with fouls and everything. We've had so many good players, and it's obviously not a slight to anybody whatsoever. But, somebody's always the best. And I have a hard time thinking Bailey's not. And those performances she put on Friday and Saturday, I've never seen anything better.
Yeah, one of the best players that we've seen in a long time, out of Garrett, definitely, but definitely one of the top 3 players, in my opinion, in the entire area and probably northern half of the state here this season. But, Coach, it's a bit different preparing for regional. You only have to prepare for one game, win or lose. How does that change your preparation, if any?
Oh, well, I mean, it really – it doesn't change it a lot. It just, you just won 32 minutes from a regional championship is great, especially for a team like ours. I don't think I would have liked this format last year, but for this team, just to have a chance to go in there and just play one game and focus all your energy and effort into one game. And, it's a night game, so it's a normal routine and everything like that. So I really like it for the setup of our team and just really excited to have an opportunity to be one win from exactly the same place we were last year is kind of crazy to think about.
I have to feel that you feel good about the regional, but then if you get to the semi-state, you're like, well, this is dumb. It should go back to the one game format. So it kind of depends on what side you are.
Right. Well, and that's what I say. The big favorite like we were last year. I don't want to play a morning game in a semi-state and have 2 hours to get ready for South Bend, Washington.
Yeah, right.
We had a week, and I'm not sure we were ready. But but for the underdog, for us, man, and you want to just focus one game at a time, and this makes it real easy. And if you get to semi-state, at this point, you're like, hey, just keep putting the icing on the cake for us.
Coach Bob Lapadot, Garrett Railroaders joining us. Hey, Coach, let's talk about that opponent coming up on Saturday. It's a very good one. Twin Lakes, they're undefeated at 26-0. They average over 62 points a game. They don't allow very many points, sub 40. It's a group that has a mix of experience, but also some girls in the underclass that really are their scoring leaders. So when you look at the Indians and what you're preparing for, I guess where does it start with them?
Well, they can shoot the three, and they can run a little bit. Defensively, it's nothing special. They just play a half-court man-to-man. I feel like, obviously, for us, it has to start on the defensive end. We have to hold them to 50 or less. And that's obviously a tall task. But, like I said, our last three sectional games were 12, 12, and 10 in the first half. So, if we can hold them to 20 or so and put a little game pressure on them, they've never won a sectional before. They've never played in the regional. So they got to travel a long way. So there's a lot of things that can play into it. And as I tell my team, I'd rather be the team that is really good on defense because it's harder to struggle that way. If the shots aren't falling and you rely only on your offense, it makes the game a lot tougher. So I think, if we can focus on our defense and have Bailey carry us and the others kind of do the little things and chip in where they can like we did against Woodland, I really, really think we'll be there in the fourth quarter.
Coach, before I let you go, I wanted to ask you about some of your other girls and Madison. Maddie has been very good for you. The other senior, I kind of feel sorry that everybody always talks about Bailey and sometimes forgets about Maddie, but she's been good for you. But also that junior class has been key too, and maybe not necessarily on the scorecard and in the statistics, but just the little things and really setting that groundwork to allow Bailey to do what she does.
Oh, man, you're not kidding. Like, Maddie has developed into the point guard that we thought she could be and take some pressure off of Bailey. And, the other senior is Ada Haynes, and she had 13, 3 big threes in the championship game. But, you talk about an Emma Lapadot who's been in a boot since the Friday that we played Lakeland. She hurt her ankle, and she's in a boot, and she shows up and plays, and she played 64 straight minutes in the 2 Friday and Saturday night games. She never came out of either game, and
wow.
just a huge cog in our defense. And Brooklyn Jacobs has helped her there, and Kelsey Bergman has had a lot. She had a triple double this year. She's had some double doubles inside, and then she got in foul trouble. And Delaney Hickson comes in for us. Hadn't played the whole tournament and rips down 14 boards and plays the entire second half and gets the biggest rebound of the season on the missed free throw that secured the win for us. So we're getting the contributions that we had to wait for everybody to fit their role. And that's why we were up and down early on in the season, and now everybody's comfortable. And I'm telling you, I see the look, and I know the look, and I see it in their faces, and I see it in the way they're practicing, and we just can't wait for Saturday to get here.
Coach, I appreciate the time. Thanks a lot, buddy. Congratulations on the sectional championship, and then Saturday night at Belmont, Garrett versus Twin Lakes. Good luck, Coach.
Thanks, and thanks for having me. I appreciate you guys.
That was Coach Bob Lapadot of the Garrett Railroaders joining us here on the High School Coaches Show. His team 14-11. They'll take on undefeated Twin Lakes, but as Coach said, the Indians, they have to travel a long time. That's their first second. I just kind of feel bad for Garrett. Last year they had to eventually run into South Bend, Washington, who's now up in 4A, and that was a challenge, to say the least. South Bend, Washington, one of the most dominant high school girls basketball teams you will see in this state anytime, anywhere. And they're up in 4A. Now you have to play an undefeated Twin Lakes team coming up on Saturday. The benefit of the regional now, you just need one win to get to the semi-state round of the tournament. Going to take a break. We'll come back, talk to Jeremy Rauch, head coach of the Snider Panthers. When we come back, a special Wednesday edition of the High School Coaches Show presented by Hoopie Insurance Services here at 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM.
Get the latest knife info from one of the country's premium knife shops, Blade Man's Knife Shop at the Shops of Scott Road. There's a reason customers drive hours just to shop at Blade Man's in Fort Wayne.
Hi, this is Mark, the owner of Blade Man's Knife Shop, and I'd like to personally invite you out to the store to see the area's best selection of quality knives. We have Benchmade, Spyderco, Microtech, ProTech, Hogue, Zero Tolerance, Medford Knife and Tool, ADV Tactical, Tour Knives, and many more. We also have a great selection of custom knives. Can't get out to the store or prefer to shop online? Check out our great selection on BladeMansKnifeShop.com. We pride ourselves on fast shipping because no one wants to wait weeks for their new knife. We update our online inventory daily so you know you're ordering in-stock product that will be shipped within one business day, and shipping is always free for orders over $100. So check us out on BladeMansKnifeShop.com or stop by the store in the Shops of Scout Road and have a cup of coffee on me.
Be in the know and follow Blade Man's on Facebook and Instagram today. 10% discount to police and military, and now you can see the collection of Shun knives, the finest in kitchen cutlery, available at Blade Man's Knife Shop in the Shops of Scott Road.
I got to tell you, two of my biggest fears in life is putting things in my body I don't know about or getting put under for major surgery. So how do I alleviate all the body pain that I have? Well, there is a way. Hey, it's Mike Rags. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in this exciting treatment. They use highly concentrated healing agents from your own body to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. If you have ongoing joint pain from arthritis or injury, you need to call QC Kinetics. Don't assume that steroids and surgery are your only option. Times have changed, and regenerative medicine can get you moving again with no downtime. Stop taking the pain meds and discover this remarkable alternative that pro athletes have been using for years. Thanks to QC Kinetics, this amazing treatment option is now available for folks like you and me who are sick and tired of joint pain. Don't put this off any longer. Spring is coming, and you want to enjoy all life has to offer. Call QC Kinetics now. Get a free consultation with local medical professionals. Call 260-333-9383. That's 260-333-9383. 260-333-9383.
Now back to the Hoopie Insurance Services High School Coaches Show on Fort Wayne Sports Station, 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Welcome back, everybody. Justin Kenny here on a special Wednesday edition of the High School Coaches Show. We had to make room for Purdue basketball coming up tomorrow, as it'll be Purdue out in Iowa to take on the Hawkeyes. Coverage begins at 6 o'clock tomorrow. It'll be high school hockey night in Fort Wayne tonight, 9 o'clock. Carroll and Leo. You can listen to that game here, 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM. Boys basketball coming up on Friday. Pivotal game in the SAC, Concordia and Homestead. The coverage there will begin 7:30 on Friday evening. Talking area high school basketball and talking some SAC basketball with our buddy Coach Jeremy Rauch, head coach of the Snider Panthers. Coach, how are you?
Good, man. How you doing?
We're doing well, Coach. And I said at the jump, we usually talk to coaches that are having good years in terms of wins and losses. But I wanted to talk to you because traditionally the Snider Panthers are up there. And this year's been a little bit different, a bit of a transition year and rebuilding and whatever you want to call it. So I thought I'd pick your mind about that. But first off, congratulations getting a dub over East Noble over the weekend. That had to be big for your guys.
Yeah, it was. It was good to see the hard work paying off. And, we didn't expect to kind of go through that drought. We knew we were starting over in some sense and, only returning, a couple guys with varsity experience. But thought we let a few slip away throughout the course of the year, and then it just kind of snowballed. But, credit the guys because, honestly, they brought it every day. They're great kids. They're hard workers. It's not easy, and it's been a perspective that I haven't had either. And so we're trying to navigate this together and make sure we keep everybody, kind of staying on the same page and everybody encouraged and just aware that There are still achievable goals, and we're still shooting for that. And at the end of the day, we want to be the best team that we can be on each given night, regardless of the scoreboard on the previous night. So that was an encouraging victory for us. We feel like we're in a pretty decent place with how we're playing, and like I said, with our general spirit, which can be tough throughout the course of the year. And who knows? That's the thing about March is you get a decent draw or put a couple games together and you're cutting down the nets after all.
Hey, Coach, you hit on something that I wanted to talk to you about, the mental aspect of things. And it's a fickle city. And when when you're winning, everybody wants to play for you. And when you're losing, nobody wants to play for you. And you can have a lot of kids and even a lot of parents over the course of a season mentally check out or worse. How difficult is that in 2023 when you're 2-17 to keep these kids working? And I imagine it has to take a special type of kid to go through the grind of a season like this as well.
A special type of kid and a special family, man. And I tell you what, we have had zero issues with guys being disconnected from the team, with parents being disconnected from what's good for the program. I mean, we had the team over at the house, and after our East Noble game, and we caught the girls. I still live in Auburn, so we caught the girls sectional championship all together as a team. And my wife said it, just a collection of the high character people that offered to clean up everything, that were great with my sons. I mean, and that's a credit to the families. So, I mean, basketball aside, just the high character of people and culture that we have at Snider has honestly made this, it's made this tolerable. You never want to say that you don't mind losing, but these are the exact type of people that it would take to get through a season like this.
And, Coach, we're going to talk to Byron Pickens here in a little bit. He went through this as recently as last year. Started some young kids, some freshmen and sophomores, 4 wins over the season. Now they're in the catbird seat in the SAC. So can you use that as a lesson, too, is keep grinding, especially with your younger kids? Like, hey, this can turn around pretty quick.
Oh, for sure. And there's definitely optimism for the future, for sure. But, we always say that old people focus too much on the past and young people focus too much on the future and successful people focus on the present. So, we just try to stay locked in, and we owe it to the seniors and the guys who've been in the program to give them the best experience and the best possible team that we can put out on the floor. And we've continued to get better, and we hope to be playing our best when it matters the most.
Couple seniors that have been big for you, the Billingsley boys, and is it Kieran that leaves you in scoring? But Billingsley, Kieran is a junior, but you also have Cadrell that's a senior. So how have those guys kind of maybe led the way? Because looking in it, they're two of probably the guys with the most playing time coming back.
Yeah, well, Cadrell was injured. He played the first game of the year and the last game of the year last year.
Right.
So it was varsity basketball was still pretty new, but Kieran is the coach on the floor, and he knows the game as well as anybody, probably player and coach included. And Cadrell is the absolute heart of the team. And so having those guys, and with the high character that they are, as our leaders has been exceptional. The other thing that they don't tell you when you go through a season like this is it's a tough thing from a coach's standpoint. Do you change things? At what point do you start looking at doing something different? Are you going to lose 3 in a row and then you start changing it? Or do you trust what you're doing and you keep doing more? And then if you lose 8 in a row, then what are you going to do? And then you lose 12 in a row, and then what do you do? So we're trying to find things. We're trying to tweak things without making wholesale changes, because with every change comes a learning curve. And so I say that all to say that those two guys especially have embraced everything we've done, have embraced how we're doing it, and have communicated it to their teammates in a way that has been able to kind of allow our job as coaches to be as tolerable as possible.
You bring up a great point, Coach, in terms of being able to maybe not be as introspective, and for you is like, am I coaching these kids wrong? Am I doing something wrong? And
sure.
You don't want to put it all on the kids either, but I'm sure there's been a lot of restless nights like what's here that I'm not seeing that we should be doing.
No question. Well, they challenge you because you ask them to do something, and they do everything that they can to do it. So then it's like, okay, is this the right thing, or is it? I mean, it's been a learning process. I've grown as a person. I've grown as a coach, and like I said, because of who they are, and I love it here at Snider. We've had tremendous support. I mean, anybody who watches us sees how hard we play, sees how enthusiastic we play for each other. You would never know our record based on our energy and our effort and our attitude. And so we believe in what we're doing. And like I said, with a couple tweaks here and there, I mean, we feel like we could be as great a threat as anybody in the section.
Coach, you look at the SAC, and I don't think outsiders don't truly understand how crazy this league is in terms of how quickly things can go up or down. And you looked at when Shabazz Khalik left Northside, that collapsed, and Coach Andrews has had to need multiple years to build it back up. Marty Beasley leaves Carroll, and last year only a couple wins for the Chargers in Ryan Abbott's first season. We talked about Wayne. It's an insane league, an insane city, is that things when you slip, you can slip far, and then it can be very difficult to climb back up. And what are the challenges in this league? Because with open enrollment and all that, and just the fickle beast that is kids and parents, it's like, man, when it goes south, it can go south in a hurry, and it can be extremely difficult to climb your way back up. Yeah,
I suppose. And we don't get caught up too much in the transiency of players throughout the city and that type of thing. And in some ways, we kind of control what we can control. And you never know. I mean, it's one of those things where we're kind of starting from scratch. So, a lot of times those types of teams will end up with a player or two at their door that they're not expecting because, all of a sudden a team is needing some players to contribute at a high level. But, yeah, I mean, we focus on player development. We really believe that the best way to make our teams better is to make our players better. So we do have some youth. We do have some guys that we feel like that can play a lot of minutes for, the next few years. We've got a couple sophomores that are starting, and obviously a junior in Tehran, and then a junior in Boston that's playing and starting most of the games now. So the future's definitely bright, but it's challenging in the moment. At the same time, it really tests the resiliency of the guys. So, I think that they're better from it. I think that it's because it's not like we have losing people. Most of our guys are football players that were one play away from going to the state championship. They know what it takes to win. They know what it takes to win in basketball. We're not far removed from cutting down the nets as well. And a lot of those guys were in the practice every day. Almost all those guys were in practice every day. Knowing the grind, knowing how long of a basketball season it is. And that's what, to answer your question, that's kind of the most challenging part is it's just a long, grueling, emotionally, physically, mentally exhausting season where at the end of the year, the teams, and Coach Sampson always said this at IU when I was with him, he said in March, you play as long as you want to. Some teams are physically, mentally, emotionally done, and some teams just play with a renewed spirit. Well, what do we have to lose? Sure. We've been beaten down for months. We'll be ready in March. I mean, we've taken a punch. So that's what we're encouraged about.
Coach, you bring up a great point. It'll be my final question, really. When you look at this group and you say, okay, I got some young kids that in a couple of years, maybe as soon as next year, they'll be a bigger aspect, a bigger part of things. How do you balance trying to not necessarily play for the future, but prep for the future without compromising this year's team?
Well, and that's been a question too. It's an inadvertent probably dilemma that we have because it's probably more the perception on the outside when we start going a little younger. But the fact is, these guys are battling every day in practice, and when you have a team that loses so many games straight, or you have a team that's 2-17, the fact of the matter is, consistency is a big problem. So whether it's a senior or a junior or a sophomore or a freshman. Who's going to bring it? Who's going to produce? All of those things get varied and inconsistent throughout the course of a long season. And so you just by default try to look for other answers and look for younger guys and different guys. And, we only have 3 seniors anyway. So, when we start kind of looking around for other solutions, they do just kind of turn out to be younger guys.
All right, buddy. Always a pleasure. You get Bishop Luers coming up later this week. So talk about that matchup and preparing for the Knights.
Well, they're in a very similar situation, and by personnel and by they were struggling there for a little bit and got them a win recently. But And they've had some good wins early on in the year. I got to see them. You know, both of us are kind of perimeter oriented. Both of us are kind of scramble, try to disrupt the other team. So it'll be a fast-paced affair. It'll be one of those where the team that kind of gets out the 3-point line and plays a little more connected and structured defensively will be the team that will prevail. I expect a battle, though. It's going to be a tough one. It'll be one that both teams kind of think that they can win. So it's going to be a fight.
All right, buddy. Hey, appreciate the time. Thanks a lot. We'll catch up with you.
All right, Justin, take care. I appreciate you having me.
Yes, sir. That was Coach Jeremy Rauch of the Snider Panthers. Unique perspective from Coach Rauch. This is a guy in a program that's used to success and won a sectional last year, 18 wins, 4 straight seasons of double-digit victories for Coach Rauch and the Snider Panthers, and sitting just 2-17 this year. And in the city, that's tough because the SAC is a fickle beast, and when you fall, you can fall hard, and it can take a while to climb back up. The key for Snider and Coach Rauch is to prepare for the coming seasons and very much make this a mirage and just a one-year thing. But we'll talk to a coach after the break that had to build a lot from really the ground up. And Coach Herrera did a great job at Wayne, but Byron Pickens took over a program, and he said, hey, we're going to go young and play some talented guys, and they're going to take their lumps, and it's worked out for them. The Generals, 14 wins. They sit atop the SAC standings right now at 6-1 after the win last night over Homestead. We'll talk to Coach Pickens about it when we come back on the High School Coaches Show here on 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM.
Make plans for the 36th Annual Baby Fair and Family Expo on February 25th. It's bigger and better than ever, with resources for expectant moms, new parents, and caregivers. Shopping, education, entertainment, free activities, and prize giveaways all day long, including a designer handbag and a chance to roll the dice to win $10,000. Kids can play with thousands of Legos and experience kick darts, live animals, bounce houses, balloon artists, face painting, puppet shows, meet Mickey and Minnie, and more. All in the colossal Kids Kingdom. The first 200 people 18 or older through the door will each be handed up to $500 in cash. Also, register for the Diaper Dash, a crawling contest where one family will walk away with diapers for a year. All the fun and excitement takes place on Saturday, February 25th from 9 to 3 at the Memorial Coliseum. And best of all, admission is free. Find all the details at WMEE.com. It's the Baby Fair and Family Expo on Saturday, February 25th at the Memorial Coliseum. Kid-friendly, mom-approved.
The 42nd Annual Fort Wayne Boat Show and Sale. Coming to the Memorial Coliseum February 9th through the 12th. It's the first sign of spring with the boat show. It's the only boat show this year, and it's your chance to see boat dealers from Indiana and Michigan, all inside the Memorial Coliseum where it's warm. There's something special to see each day at the Fort Wayne Boat Show. Register for your chance to win daily giveaways. Go to FortWayneBoatShow.com.
The boat show is coming, better climb the boat.
Life is better with a boat.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Co-Heating and Air Conditioning, your independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, one family owned and still going strong for 60 years. Decade after decade, Co-Heating and Air has been known for providing quality heating and cooling services that ensure your family stays comfortable year-round. That's no accident. That's a legacy of customer care, excellence, and relationships that have endured from generation to generation. Go with who you know. Go with Co. Proud to be your American Standard dealer. Find them at coheatcool.com today.
This is the Hoopy Insurance Services High School Coaches Show on Fort Wayne Sports Station, 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Welcome back, everybody. High School Coaches Show. I'm Justin Kenny. Special Wednesday edition here of the High School Coaches Show. We have to make room tomorrow for Purdue and Iowa. The Boilermakers heading on the road out to Iowa City to take on the Hawkeyes. Coverage starts tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Thursday, once again, tomorrow night, Purdue and Iowa. Friday night, it'll be Concordia and Homestead. Boys basketball, you can listen to that here, 1380 The Fan. 100.9 FM, a pivotal game in the SAC that will be, but also a pivotal game in the SAC came last night. It came at Homestead, and emerging the winner in overtime, the Wayne Generals, a 66-62 win. Head coach of the Generals, Coach Byron Pickens. Coach, how are you?
I'm well. How about yourself, Justin?
Not bad, Coach. Congratulations on a really gutsy and gritty and all those cliche word win last night, and very impressive with you guys down the stretch. Trading blows with Homestead. Will Jamison hits that clutch three, and then Javon Lewis just goes all the way down and gets that bucket that proved to be the game winner. Congratulations. A huge win for you guys, and I'm sure it was a very energetic and excited post-game locker room.
Oh, yeah. We celebrated. We were very happy about the win, but today is a new day. We have to focus on our next task, which is Southside. And
it's been a really great run for you guys. Take me back to last year, and you guys went young, and I don't know if that was by necessity or you really choosing to do that. And a challenging season. We just talked to Coach Jeremy Rauch going through a challenging season at Snider, and he said, man, it's very difficult to have the right kids in the right places to go through a season like this. And you did, and now you're reaping the dividends.
Absolutely. Well, last year, my motto is always to put the best players on the varsity team, and unfortunately, those were the younger guys. So I let them know that, this is going to be a challenging season. We didn't say that we were going to lose, but we knew that we were going to take some lessons because the SAC then was, senior heavy. So, we kind of prepared them for what was upcoming, but we also had goals that were attainable for them. I just feel like we're reaping the benefits of that right now.
How tough was last year? I mean, did you have to navigate some things both on the floor and with young guys trying to keep them engaged, or was this a group that was really soaking it all in last year despite the struggles on the court?
Kind of both. It was a group that was soaking it all in. Those guys really wanted to win, and I think that's why you see so much passion on the floor now, because they're taking a lot of the losses that they took last year personal this year. So it was more about, telling them just to get better, keep growing, keep getting better, keep grinding. And right now they have just matured so much. And honestly, we're a little ahead of schedule if you ask me.
Yeah, Coach, when you look at it, and Lewis was the big hero yesterday, but you looked at Dillard and Comer and Chase Barnes, all these guys sophomores, but they don't play like sophomores. And I imagine last year playing all the games that they did has a big part of that.
Absolutely. Playing against some of the top competition that we had to play against, you got Fletcher Lawyer, Carson Jenkins, Jalen Jackson, just to name a few. Those guys, they played the big brother role, and we kind of learned by almost baptism by fire. So now we feel like we're battle tested because we played against those high caliber type of players. So this year, it almost feels like an extra boost of confidence without those older guys in the court.
Got a lot of underclassmen out there, but break down what Monty Smith Jr. means to this team, one of the few seniors that gets significant minutes.
You know what? He's actually our calm. We put Monty in certain situations on defense where we just know he's going to be there. And it's great to have a guy like Monty who is so selfless. He doesn't care about getting the most points. He kind of just wants his little brothers to get the spotlight. He's going to make a college coach very happy one day.
Coach Byron Pickens of the Wayne Generals joining us here. And Coach, last night we saw you were able to force a lot of turnovers, and we know the ball protection is a big thing in a close game like this, but did you feel like you could speed Homestead up a little bit, maybe force some mistakes that you guys were able to capitalize on last night?
You know what, Justin? That's part of our strength, where we feel like we can get everyone to play our speed, something that we're comfortable doing, that we possibly can win the game. And we know that Homestead wanted to slow us down. We didn't have HJ yesterday because he was dealing with a ankle injury. So we wanted to put their bigs in a situation where they had to run with us. I'm just blessed to have the guards and the wings that we had yesterday that were able to battle with the big guys. And the game was a fast-paced game, and it just worked out in our favor.
Coach, you guys have now won 6 straight games, most recent, of course, being last night's game against Homestead. You beat Blackhawk Christian as well. And you had a bit of a layoff between Blackhawk Christian and Homestead. Did you put that to good use?
Yeah, we did. We worked on a lot of ourselves, things that we probably need to work on. We know that we're good in the transition, but we wanted to work in the half court, work against some zones. Now, we didn't see Homestead play a lot of zones, but I figure if we play them in the sectionals, that's been their bread and butter. So we just got to prepare for that. So we learned a little bit about that, got some free throws up. So we took the time, and we focused on Homestead a lot. Because we know that, in order to win a conference and win a sectional, you got to go through them. So we tried to watch a lot of film on them, and it turned out to really work for us.
Coach, you guys just won a big game. Me as an outsider, I have the luxury of saying, next Friday will be a huge game against Concordia. But you have to make sure your guys aren't looking ahead, and you guys are ready for Southside. Southside has won on the road and beat Marion this year. They were close to beating Homestead on the road this year. They battled Concordia tough. So this is a big challenge for the Archers. Can't judge them by the record. So how do you ensure your guys are ready to play on Friday?
We just tell our boys that every game is a championship game. We can't look past anyone. Honestly, our historically we're not built that way. We have to take every game seriously. So we're not satisfied with the wins. And we're still hungry. So we know that Southside is going to give us a big punch just as well as Concordia. So we're preparing for every game just like we prepared for Homestead. Every game is a number 1 seed game, a must-win game. So we don't take anything lightly.
Coach, it's been 23 years since Wayne has captured an SAC championship. When is that mentioned by Coach Pickens? Is it not until Concordia? Have you mentioned that any? Or is it a non-talking point until you prep for the cadets?
It'll be mentioned during our banquet after the season. We want to live in the moment. We know that those things are in front of us. But if we play hard, then we can celebrate those things. But right now, we're only worried about what's in front of us, and that's Southside.
All right, buddy. Hey, congratulations on the big win. Congratulations to the guys on a big dub. It was tremendous seeing them pull that one out, particularly still with how young you are and having guys play above their grade level. So congratulations, Coach. Good luck coming up against South on the road on Friday.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
That was Coach Byron Pickens of the Wayne Generals. His team, 14-4 this season, 6 straight wins, back-to-back wins over Blackhawk Christian and Homestead. And the Wayne Generals sit now 6-1 in the SAC atop the conference. They hold the tiebreaker over Homestead, and they are tied with Concordia. But the Cadets and Generals will play next Friday in what will be a big game. But Wayne, of course, Coach Pickens saying it, we're not thinking about Concordia yet because we have to take care of business against Southside. Southside, just 3 wins, but you cannot judge that team based on their record because they have a good win on the road against Marion. That's a double-digit win Marion team. They played Homestead tough, only lost by 3 on the road. They only lost by 6 to Concordia. So that's a team that can clip you if you're not ready. And Coach Pickens has to make sure that his young group is ready to play in what very much could be a trap game between Homestead and Concordia. You have smack dab in the middle of it a Southside Archers team with just 3 wins, but still extremely, extremely dangerous. That's going to do it for us, everybody, here tonight. Thanks to Byron Pickens, head coach of the Wayne Generals. Jeremy Rauch, coach of the Snider Panthers, joining us, and we kicked it off with Bob Lapadot, head coach of the Garrett Railroaders, as the Railroaders prepare for regional play coming up on Saturday against undefeated Twin Lakes. That'll do it for us. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Hockey night in Fort Wayne coming up at 9 o'clock. Listen in to the game tonight between Carroll and Leo. And we'll catch you next Thursday here on 1380.
Podcasts by Federated Media.